Hello YouTube, this is Kevin with Double D Construction, and I am super excited because, as you see in the camera, today is package day. We've been waiting on parts to finish up our dozer sitting over here, and I'm going to do a quick video in a little bit on what I've changed, what I've done since the last shooting that we did. But for this video, we're going to do the unpackaging of my package. As horrible as it sounds. So, this was the last bit of stuff I've been waiting for. Other than the dozer blade, we still have the factory one back over there, but that's not going to keep me from putting the dozer together. Thomas from RC Construction Projects does some absolutely amazing work. Super nice guy, and very good at what he does. And so I'm going to wait, and when he has those in, hopefully I'll be snagging a couple, because I plan on doing another dozer, which you will hear about here in a second. But without further ado, let's get started. So in the package, I had ordered another set of drives, and the reason why was because I plan on doing a second dozer. Well, with each drive kit comes a nice letter from Thomas, explains how to set up your drives. Just goes to show the level of quality that he can put out there and just how much he cares about this stuff. Like I said, he's a really awesome guy, super nice. And yeah, I've never had any issues with what he's got going on with his stuff. It's all top quality stuff. So I'm super excited about this. But with each of the drives came one of these to explain how to set them up and everything. But I've already seen this because I already have another drive set. So, I wish I could set the camera down. I just don't have anything high enough that I can set it up right over here to do this. So sadly, you're dealing with me holding the camera. So this is how the drives come packaged really freaking well. And in a minute, after I pull everything out, I'll probably turn the camera off, set it up, so that way I can cut it open and really show you how they're set up. And of course, here is another drive. And as you can see, it comes pretty well packaged, and the last package, the one that I had that had the tracks and everything in it, was even more beefed up. This one not as much because it just wasn't necessary. But it's all very well packaged. Like I am super happy with what he did, how he did it, and everything else. Is there anything else in there? It doesn't look like it. So there's nothing in here. So I also ordered a bunch of hardware from him. He does these bolts. They're the same ones that are on the drives, but they're a lot better quality than the ones that come on the models. They look really nice. They're stainless steel, and yeah, they're just better done. Also in here are the outer rubber gaskets for the hubs. So there's actually three O-rings in these hubs over here. There's one on the outside, which would be these, and then there's two on the inside. So before I install the second set on another dozer, what I'm going to probably do is take the hub apart a little bit extra, pull all the O-rings out, line them up, figure out what their sizes are, and order a ton of extras. So we have them because they are oil-filled, and oil seals tend to die eventually. I mean, it's just the nature of life, especially if you run them a lot. And this guy over here is going to be run a lot, hence why we're doing all the work now to make it super strong. Oh, I forgot the other thing I ordered was a second set of pins to put in these tracks that I have put together. You can kind of see them back over there, maybe. Yeah, you can. There's already one in there, but I was thinking about it, and if it's in a very inconvenient spot to take the tracks apart, having a second one opposite it may make it more easy to deal with. So having two access points to take the tracks apart would be better than just one. So that's what I'm doing. On each track we'll have two pins instead of only one that can come apart, so we can take the tracks apart at anywhere that's convenient, or as convenient as possible. And then what I've truly been waiting for, as I said, very well packaged, is the brand new cat grill, made also by RC Construction Projects, obviously in the same box. And so what I'm going to do is turn the camera off, resituate everything so that way I can lay it down, and then I can open this up and show you all the details and how awesome this is. So thank you very much, and I'll get back with you here in just a second. Alright guys, welcome back. I wanted to pre-open them a little bit so I wasn't sitting here fighting with them on camera. But as you see, this is what came in the package all laid out. The O-rings for the outside, or the outside O-rings for the drive units, the oil seal. Okay, the 4 different style of bolts I ordered from him, 4, 5, 6, and 8 millimeters in length. I ordered all of these because I wanted to decide whether I was going to use his bolts, some other ones I really like from Locked Up RC, or, you know, definitely not going to keep the factory ones. I will state this, that RC 4-wheel drive has been amazing in their customer service. They've done everything I've asked, and they're more than happy to replace things that were an issue. I don't feel uncomfortable or worried that they're not going to follow through. They definitely do. Their customer service is phenomenal. I just don't like the quality of their hardware. I know you've heard this through, I think, every video I've done yet so far. I just want to make sure I'm clear about that I'm not unhappy with RC 4-wheel drive at all. It's just the hardware that you use. It does work. However, I like better stuff. We're gonna run these a lot this summer, and we're gonna run them hard. So I want to make sure that they're ready for it, and that's all. So, anyways, without further ado, so the different bolts. These are the pins that Thomas offers, okay, for his tracks. I'm pretty sure that they don't fit the factory ones at all, and they won't be of any use for the factory tracks. They're going to be for his. But if you're going to, you know, do anything on the Dozer, the first thing I think you should do is switch out the tracks. His are much higher quality, by far. But anyways, so this is the pin that slides in. Now what's nifty is that this right here just screws into it. So essentially, there's your pin, right? So once this is tightened down, now you have a pin that holds the tracks together really well. And what's cool is now you can just, if you want to take the tracks apart, you can just unscrew this instead of having to tap it out like the other ones where it just, you know, you tap them out and it gives. These ones you have to unscrew it first for reliability, and then you can tap this piece out. So really super good idea Thomas came up with. I think it's phenomenal. I'm going to blue goo them, of course, to make sure they stay quote-unquote permanent, except for when they want to take them apart. Just make sure you don't use the red stuff. The only thing that I wish was different was that it wasn't an Allen key, but there's Allen key all over this thing, and they work quite well. So as long as you have a good Allen head that's not stripped out, you'll be fine. Short side of that, I mean, like I said, I think they're fantastic. I think he does really amazing work. Now, before we move on to the actual really big, cool parts, I want to do a quick discussion on the hardwares out there that you can use and the differences, because I've never seen that anywhere, and I had to do some research to figure it out, so I figure it would be cool to give people an idea as to where I get the stuff and what I've found. And maybe I'll get some other really good ideas too. So this right here is the JD Models hardware, okay? As you see, it's a bolt. It works. It's a 2mm bolt. It's 8 millimeters long. Or sorry, it's an M2 bolt that's 8 millimeters long. It's got the head's a 2.5 mil. Okay, that's how these are set up. One of the big complaints with these is that even the tool they give you to work on it, that has a 2.5 millimeter head to it, strips these out. Okay, which means that they're not made all to the right size, I assume. I mean, that's the only thing I can figure. But they're a royal pain dealing with them. I've had a lot of issues with the actual JD models bolts, hence why I've been so vocal about that. Right, so that's what they look like. Right, now the comparable option from RC Construction Projects is a bolt that looks similar. Theirs are stainless steel, not the black, but the heads are a lot bigger, and the bolts are better made. Probably of a much better material because they're stainless steel instead of whatever that's made of. And they're really nice and bulky and good. They're very, how do you call it, beefy. And so I am super excited about these. The only downside with these is that he only makes these 4 sizes. So I wanted to switch out, say, the bolts that hold in the big, what do you call them, the big rams for the blade. The up and down rams. Well, the bolts that hold them down, I think, are 14 millimeters long, and he doesn't have any options for that. But, you know, that's okay. I mean, it's all up to what he wants to do. Like I said, his work is amazing. So my Dozer is going to have some of his hardware and also some of the next hardware I'm going to show you. The other option that you'll get, or that you can get, is locked up RC. Now these ones are a little different because they're still, the hardware from RC Construction Projects is the exact same size, M2 by 8 millimeters with a 2.5 mil head, okay, as the JD models. Now, locked up RC is the third option, or is the second option, the other one that I really like. And the reason why is because this head, right? So this is an M2 bolt. Now they do not have an 8 millimeter length. They have a 2 by 7 millimeter, and they have a 2 by 10 millimeter. So it's one or the other. So it like these are actually the drive mounting bolts to mount the drives to the chassis. Okay, which are 8 millimeter. So he has a perfect option for that. This one is a 10 mil because I couldn't get an 8 mil from Locked Up. But instead of having the normal 2.5 mil head, what looks like a standard bolt you would buy from, say, well, anywhere really. I don't know the difference in the names of the head of the bolt, but essentially that one, like if you went to Lowe's and just bought an M2 bolt, or I'm sorry, you probably can't get M2s there, but let's say you wanted an M6 bolt. It would come with this style of head. Yet when you buy a vehicle, a lot of them come with these style heads. So in this size, it's an M2 bolt that literally takes an M2 screwdriver to pull it off, which in my opinion is pretty nifty. So it's really simple to deal with, really easy. And I use these on a lot of my stuff. The Tamiya trucks that I have, one of them I've been converting all of the hardware over to these bolts right here because I liked them so much. I've never had an issue with them stripping out, which is part of the reason why I really wanted to try Thomas's, because I have a feeling I will have the same luck with his, is that they won't strip out very easy. It would take a lot of torque to do that, as opposed to the JD models. It's a simple push it on there and go to turn it and you can strip it. So these are the options that I found that I really like. The thing with the Locked Up RC bolts are the bolts that I've found on Locked Up RC. I'm pretty sure they're the ones that manufacture them too, but I'm not certain. They have a whole range. So they don't go down to 4 millimeter. They start at, if you want M2, you can get an M2 millimeter by 1 millimeter length, which is basically just a plug, I guess. And then they start at a M2 by 5, an M2 by 7, and they go to M2 by 10, M2 by 12. I think it's M2 by 14, M2 by 17, M2 by 21, and then 25, and then 27 or 30 or something like that, I think is their range. But that's just the M2s. Then you can also get them in 2.5, so you can get them in 3 millimeter for scale hardware. And with just one small set of the hex drivers, you can do anything with those. So I just wanted to make sure I covered a little bit of that. Maybe you guys would be interested, maybe not. Please let me know in the comments if you want to see stuff like that, because I'm a very technical and mechanical person. Sometimes I wonder if the main part of my hobbies is building and putting things together and creating things, or editing them, and doing that more so than actually running them. I was a guy that used to put, low sound decoders in N-scale locomotives and made them sound really good, and that was the majority of what I did in model railroading in N-scale. Once I started getting into sound decoders, just because I love doing it so much. It's always interesting trying to figure out how to fit things in places. But anyways, to move on. So that's the hardware side of what I got in, and I thought you might be interested in hearing some of that. The next thing is not this guy. These guys, which you guys have already seen these, but I wanted to show them coming in packaging, what it looks like when they come in, how they're packaged and everything. Obviously I pre-opened it. I wanted to be really careful not to hit the wiring, because I don't know how I feel about the way the motors are set up, other than the fact that the wires for some reason are super stubby, so if anything happens with them, it'd be a pain to fix them. So that's why I put extensions on all of them that are going in the Dozer. So as you can see, it's pretty well packaged, so as not to damage the finish. And these things aren't cheap, but they're definitely worth every penny that I paid for them. I don't feel bad at all for spending money on these. But anyways, this is how they come. And as you see, he uses his hardware on them. And just look at these things. Just how beautiful they are. Let me adjust the lighting real quick. So I put new lamps up in here so I could try and get better lighting, because I was having a hard time seeing some of the stuff. But just look at this thing. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. They're super heavy. Like I said, worth every penny of these. These are. When they come to you, there's 2 seals back here already installed. Okay? In the front, there's one that goes around here. Now it's cool because when you take the front plate off, as you've seen in my previous video, if you watched it, there is actually a groove right in here where that oil seal sits. And what's cool is that by him setting it up that way instead of around the edge, you don't have to have perfect pressure around here. You don't have to worry about cranking these down to seal. The seal's on the inside, so you wet it and you just kind of turn it as you roll it in until it pops in, and then you just bolt in all the bolts. And as long as they're, tight enough to hold, you're in good shape. Now, when I put the other ones together, I'm probably going to use blue glue on all of these. I use the Tamiya stuff. I can show you here in a second. But anyways, this is how they come, packaged in this really nice beefy package. Of course, there's 2 of them. I'm not going to open the other one because I just don't see a reason to have to do that yet. Especially seeing as they're probably not going to be used for a while. Most likely I'll take this one here apart, and then I'll take the 2 O-rings out of here, or one, depends on if they're the same size, and bring them in to someone and ask them, see if they can help me locate spares, because even as amazing as they are, if they're oil filled especially, things happen, seals fail eventually, or if I make a mistake in installation and I put it on there at enough of an angle that it cuts the O-ring, and I've done things like that before, obviously you need to be able to replace it. So doing that before I try and put them together is the best policy. Because then that way you're always prepared. And with all the running of them we're going to do, I'm pretty sure we're going to be, blowing O-rings every once in a while. So anyways, the thread lock I use is this stuff right here. It's a blue gel. It's freaking fantastic. Good on Tamiya. They have an awesome product. And of course, it comes in the truck kits, but also I was watching Bob at Hobby Concepts building the dump truck, which is what got me into this in the first place. And he was talking about the use of this stuff, and God, he couldn't be more right as to how great it is and how well it works. So anyways, without further ado, the last one from the package is the grill. I am so freaking stoked about this thing. So if you notice how the packaging around it, he wanted to take very good care of it. So I'm super excited about that. There we are. So this is supposed to look like a factory cat grill. To be honest, I haven't looked too much into it, but it looks just like the ones I've seen in the photos. Of on a cat, I mean. And here we go. And just look at how absolutely phenomenal looking this thing is. It looks like it's got some yellow paint around it. I wonder if he tests them on a Dozer piece to make sure they fit properly before he sends them out. I don't know the quality of work he puts out there. It wouldn't surprise me if that's what he did. So anyways, absolutely beautiful. I mean, just look at this thing. It is so cool looking. What's really neat and I like a lot. So this is the one that came in from them. This here is the factory one. Doesn't look bad, looks good on the model, works rather well. But what's funny is there is one ram on the right side of the blade that does the tilting functions, right? Well, what they do is they just run the hoses through. I think it's this slot right here. Yeah, pretty sure. They just ran them through the slot. So, functional, industrial, works, but doesn't really look very professional. But again, it works just fine. So, no problem, no harm, no foul. You know, it works great. This one, however, in super awesome and cool fashion, this one has these nice little holes for the actual lines. Now what's really neat is I guess there are people who have added a second ram, one on the other side of the blade, maybe for tilt function, something of that nature. Well, that's freaking neat that they can do that, and even more impressive is that he put a special spot so you can put two more. I'm assuming that's also because that's what a real cat would have. But I just find it really awesome that he's gone and set it up like that. So now this is going to just look phenomenal. So anyways, this was the unboxing of all the new stuff coming from the package, or coming in for the mail. So now I can start reassembly. I am, like I said before, so stoked to be able to start this. But anyways, you guys have a fantastic day. Thanks for joining me for package day and this awesome and super exciting time. So please let me know if there's anything else you want to see. Let me know in the questions or comment, or give me questions or comments. Like or subscribe if you like what you see, and let me know any feedback. That would be fantastic. Until next video, you have a great day, and we'll talk again soon.